Hello everybody, I'm Nick, and in this video I want to talk about this apparent issue that AutoMapper has, other than the fact that it is AutoMapper, which really you shouldn't be using it because you really do not need AutoMapper. It is a terrible idea and a terrible design decision to be using it nowadays anyway. That's a subject for another video. If you want to know about that, comment down below and I'll make that video. But let's assume you're using it. Apparently, Jimmy posted 3 days ago, Jimmy is the creator of AutoMapper, that because we do not have a max level of nesting or depth that AutoMapper will go, if you have circular dependencies, for example, you have a parent that has a child property and both of them are people, and then the child can have a child and the child can have a child, and you keep going in this sort of, not really circular fashion, but this nested fashion that can have an amount of depth, this can crash your server because the Stack Overflow exception will crash the server because, as you can see here, Stack Overflow exception cannot be caught in modern .NET runtimes, the application cannot recover, and will crash immediately. If we quickly go into like demo code, as you can see over here, I have mappers, circular to circular, I have 10,000 levels of nesting. If I run that, then this will run fine with 10,000, but if I go 25, which I think is what's referred to in the issue, then you're going to start seeing these exceptions, which eventually will crash your applications because you can't really catch it. So, fine. However, newsflash, guys, whenever you do recursion of any timing, even a for loop or a while loop, this can happen because that's how programming works and the stack works in C#. So, we even have a website name after it. So, I don't really see this as a severity 7.5 out of 10 super high DDoS, or not DDoS, but DOS attack via uncontrolled recursion. There's ways to solve this. Max depth, so 32 or 64, arbitrary numbers. This always depends on what you're actually doing. If it's 100, it should be 100. But you would expect to have some level of validation that doesn't allow users to push payloads that are that big that can crush your runtime. Now, maybe you don't have that, but it is really uncommon. AutoMapper has lived in tons of projects over many, many years of its lifetime. This is the first time we hear about this, and this existed since forever. So I think this is blown out of proportion significantly, and I'm a bit skeptical about why this happens. Fine, like this is a problem. I don't think it's what Jimmy presents it to be. I am always a bit skeptical and a bit cynical with these types of things when something is about a paid product, because this is sort of a vulnerability that tries to push you into a new version. As you can see, 16.1.1 and 15.1.1 have both been patched. So if I actually go over here and I say I want to increase this version to 16.1.1 and I run my code again, then it will run fine because it has been fixed in those versions. Now, as far as I'm aware, both versions are under the paid licensing that Jimmy has. In case you didn't know, AutoMapper and Mediator now are sort of paid products if you exceed a threshold in how much money your company makes. Which would, because there's no fix on the sort of free version, non-commercial version, this feels like it's trying to push people into a certain direction, which is the paid direction. I am not quite sure if this should be here. And judging from what people on Reddit are saying, there was a post talking about this and, is this a vulnerability? Is it not? Well, it should not have been marked at that severity for sure. I have seen vulnerabilities marked much higher than they should be according to the understood grading system over the last 3 to 4 years. Not sure why in most cases, but this one seems pretty clearly commercially motivated or has pretty clear commercial interest. So people are not really buying it. I think it's more fear mongering than actually a real issue. I can guarantee you will never have an issue like that. And it sort of feels to me like this post will drive certain people to try APIs to try and crash them. So companies are scared and they're like, we have to upgrade. Oh, the thing we have to upgrade to is a paid version. So now we have to pay, which is, if I'm not the only one seeing it and more people are seeing it, then maybe it's the case. The rest of the posts here are all about, what's the vulnerability here? Is it really exploitable? Even your registration of dependency injection can have Stack Overflow issues, even normal recursion. All of that can be sort of exploitable these things of AI that's relevant. Fix by adding max depth to all your create map calls. And yes, by the way, you don't actually have to upgrade to the new version. You can go to the create map and you can say max depth 64, and that will increase it. I want to see actually if this method exists in the non-fixed versions. So if I go to the 16, which says this package is vulnerable, it might lead to specific problems or whatever it is, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Wow, 1 billion downloads, that's crazy. Yeah, as you can see, it still exists, and I'm pretty sure it exists in the 13 version as well, which is probably the last non-commercial, or 14 if I'm not wrong. The constructor here has changed a bit, but other than that, this should still work fine. Yeah, so you add that, you go ahead, you run it, all works fine, no problem. So, questionable at best, sort of fear-mongering. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people think it is. Here, Magic Mapper, which is a fork, has a binary compatible fork, whatever that is. Please do not use AutoMapper on new projects. Leave it there if you have it for old projects, but moving forward, just do not use AutoMapper. Like, it's not the worst decision you can make, but you really do not need it for mapping, especially in the world of AI. AI can probably auto-create all your mappers anyway, so the whole argument that you needed is not a good one in my opinion. Plus, there's better source-generated mappers that can do the same job. And as you can see over here, how am I supposed to recreate this as an outside attacker? I tried using an API request with strongly typed body, but it was caught by JSON's max depth, which, yeah, JSON also has a max depth like limit, and it won't let you push bodies that will be then pushed into the AutoMapper. So, I really do not know what to think about this. Except for the fact that we're running a pretty massive 30% discount at Dome Train right now. We've launched tons of courses from MCP to hands-on courses on solid principles, a free C# for beginners course, Java, Bicep, TypeScript, Python, Go, JavaScript, SQLite, which is also free by the way, and tons more. Check it out. Use code hands-on30 at checkout to just get everything here 30% off. But back to the subject, I think this is sort of fear-mongering and we don't really need to worry about it like at all. Yes, do add the max depth, but it's more likely that your JSON validation will be sorting that out for you anyway. This is a non-issue. I can't believe this is being blown out of proportion. It does feel commercially motivated. Let me know, please, in the comments what you think. Do you think this is true, genuine concern? Can you recreate it in your own projects with 28,000 levels of nesting? Or is it just a way to try to get us to upgrade to a version of a package that we really do not need, and maybe it's not getting the signups Jimmy expected it should be getting? Well, that's all I had for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, keep coding.